wait, go.
Good morning, students. Welcome to our next week of e-learning. Please don't mind our baby in the background. She's eating breakfast. So to review, we are learning about the characteristics of life. We did metabolism and energy 2 weeks ago. Last week we did organization and cells. And this week we're going to spend the whole week on doing reproduction and talking about genetics. Remember, overall, our whole guiding question is the coronavirus or COVID-19 living or non-living? And just a reminder, you're going to have to do a CER at the end of all of this, where you're going to have to argue, is COVID-19 living or non-living, and use this as your evidence. Okay, so reproduction. On your worksheet, the first thing I ask you to do is to come up with a definition of the term reproduction. So reproduction is the process in which new individuals, the vocab term we use for this is offspring. Another word would be babies. So process in which new individuals, offspring or babies, are produced from their parent or parents. And the biggest thing with this is there are two types. That's the second question on your worksheet. The two types are asexual. Asexual, this term A, anytime you put A in front of a word, it changes the word to mean without or not. So asexual means not sexual. What does that mean? It simply means that there's only one parent. The definition of sexual reproduction is that there are two parents. It does not mean you actually have to go through the process of having sex, which we're going to talk about a little bit tomorrow. But sexual literally means two parents. So using this information, answer the first two questions on your worksheet. Here's the definition, here are the two types. Finally, on your worksheet, we had to go through the differences between asexual and sexual. There is a chart that you are going to complete. So to do the chart, I'm going to go down asexual completely, and then I will go down the side about sexual reproduction completely. You might, as I'm going through this, want to take screenshots and then type your answers in. So first is the description. Asexual. It involves one parent making or splitting into two identical offspring. Another word for asexual reproduction is cloning. Literally, you are using one parent and they're just going to split themselves in half and make two identical babies, identical to each other and identical to the original parent. The types of living things that go through this are bacteria, some types of worms, they actually just split themselves in half and become two worms, and this organism called yeast. We use yeast when we make bread. The picture I put into your notes for you because I didn't know if it would be hard or easy for you guys to add a picture. So the picture, if you look, this is the parent and it's just splitting into the offspring and they all look completely identical. So the purpose of this is to make two identical clones of the parent. Everything for asexual is identical. Identical, identical, identical. Okay? Now we'll move over to the sexual side. So the description is on the sexual side, it's taking two parent gametes. This word gametes is a new word. It means sex cells. For humans, that is sperm and egg cells. So in sexual reproduction, it's when your gametes combine to make a unique offspring, meaning they are not clones. They are not identical. They are not exactly the same. Living organisms that go through this are plants, animals, fungus, so those are like our mushrooms, and yeast. If you notice, I mentioned yeast on both sides. Yeast is one living thing that actually can decide if it wants to be asexual or sexual, and depending on its environment, it's going to switch between the two. If you look at the picture, we have two parents instead of one. So I did one parent in black and one parent in white, and they combined, and the offspring is like a grayish color, which means it's a hybrid. Hybrid is another term for mix. Like think about like a hybrid car is a mix of gas and electric. So you are a mix of your two parents. The purpose is to make one genetically unique offspring. The biggest thing here is that you are unique. You are a combination of two other individuals, so no one else on earth is like you. Even your siblings are going to be a little bit different from one another, even if you have the same exact parents. So going through, you possibly want to take a screenshot of the chart. I'll back up a little bit. Use this chart to type it into your notes, and then answer the last question. Based on this chart, are humans asexual or are we sexual? And then the rest of your worksheet, you're going to go through and you're going to read and annotate a couple paragraphs, and there's a few questions and then a conclusion question at the end. Good luck, and once again, if you need any help whatsoever, email us, comment in the classroom comment section of the assignment, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Good luck.